The Four Seasons Hotel in Munich. Robbie Williams and Vladimir Putin were already guests in this exclusive palace. Today, the Cruisefire Alpine Passes Tour starts here, a rendezvous for dream sports cars. A supercar, sometime on the weekend, a little bit of baggage, and of course, cash ready for the fuel bill. And you too could head for an exclusive drive. For example, a 3-day road trip to Villa Estete at Lake Como. The 2017 Cruisefire Alpine Passes Tour leads from Munich over the most beautiful passes of the German, Austrian, Swiss and Italian Alps. Destination of the first stage, St. Moritz. The last preparations are in gear and the route of organizer Marco Schenk is mapped out.
So, in principle, we have selected the best passes that the Alps have to offer.
A total of 5,300 horsepower from 88 cylinders set off on an unforgettable and exclusive adventure. The route there is winding and over 1,000 kilometers long, not calculating the return route. And the first highlight of the tour will not be long in coming.
So we are very happy that we can drive over the Stelvio today. Almost bright sunshine. We can enjoy the whole road, the whole pass. Just great.
The most conspicuous car in the exclusive group is the Lamborghini Aventador. Edgy, aggressive, emotional, and in this case, a rarity. One of only 50 Aventador Miura homages manufactured and participating in the Cruisefire Tour, a special edition made for the 50th anniversary of the Lamborghini Miura. The Miura is a Lamborghini which, for once, is not named after a bull, such as the Murcielago, the Huracan, or the Aventador, but after a fighting bull breeder, Antonio Miura. In 1966, the car was a sensation and far superior to the competition from Ferrari and Maserati. The Miura was celebrated mainly because of its design. The sports car with the eyelashes, Ferruccio Lamborghini deliberately integrated the human features onto the car.
He was always fascinated and inspired by women. This led to each vehicle developed by him being based on the image of a woman. For example, the Miura is a gorgeous, curvy woman who's just super sexy.
The curvy Miura later became an edgy Aventador during the years of the Lamborghini evolution. A special edition follows for the 50th anniversary of the Lamborghini Miura on the Aventador base. Apart from the special paint, it is a standard Aventador LP 700-4 for the Miura edition, ennobled with golden rims and paint ornaments. Is this the perfect companion for a trip to the Alps?
We choose the Aventador because of its design. It has been, I think, for both of us, a dream car for many years. And for an event like this, we thought it would be a fantastic car.
We were actually pleasantly surprised about the comfort. A lot of things has happened with the technology and the suspensions and stuff like that. So actually, I was pleasantly surprised how easy it is to drive. And when you put it in the easy mode, the normal mode, it's not much different than driving a Volkswagen or something like that.
The basic principle of Lamborghini has always been to create sports cars for the road. Ferruccio Lamborghini wanted to build a better GT than Enzo Ferrari, who had racing success in mind and designed his cars more for the track. Dimensions like a VW bus and high consumption of at least 16 liters make journeys in it rather like being in a bulky contemporary. Nevertheless, the Lambo is probably the car with the biggest fun factor from our Alpine Tour quartet. Just under 5 hours after the tour started in Munich, the Cruisefire participants reached the Stelvio Pass. The highlight of the tour, the pass is 50 kilometers long and at 2,800 meters above zero, the highest mountain pass in Italy. At the Tibetan restaurant at the summit, participants can take a short break, but there's not much time left. Due to a small traffic jam, the drivers have lost some time. The curve hunt goes on, and just the right territory for a purebred rear-wheel drive. For example, the Ferrari 458 Spaziale.
The Spaziale is very compact, and because it has such an extremely short response time and reacts immediately to what the driver wants, makes it very handy on mountain passes. It seems very light. When driving downhill you have to brake only a little compared to, for example, the Porsche Macan. And you are very, very fast with this car. Fast driving on the passes with this car is a pleasure.
About half of all Spaziale drivers go with their cars onto the racetrack. But even serpentines have what it takes to create a bit of a track feeling and offer an ideal platform to experiment with the drift angle control. At the touch of a button, the Spaziale regulates the torque to the rear axle so that the desired drift angle is driven. The 4.5-liter V8 of the base model 458 Italia has been thoroughly redesigned and now delivers 35 horsepower more. When sprinting to 100, the Spaziale is 0.4 seconds faster than its serial brother. .4 kilograms equal to 1 horsepower. Compared to the Italia, 80 kilos have been shed, and yet the Spaziale presents itself without any elaborate wings. The necessary downward pressure is provided by flaps on the bow and on the diffuser, which open at high speed. Fun with this car is guaranteed. Its travel suitability? Questionable. The Spaziale does not even have a radio, and nobody needs that sound, but it does symbolize that the Spaziale is not a daily drive. The first 360 kilometers are complete, and the Cruisefire participants arrive at the stage end of the first day, at the hotel in St. Moritz. With a drink at the bar, the drivers talk shop about the breathtaking impressions of the day. The tires, brakes and gears of the supercars are allowed to rest the hotel entrance so they can be fighting fit again tomorrow. But the next day starts differently than planned. Rain. Wet and slippery road surfaces, not weather which sports car lovers want to take their treasures out of the garage for. Good thing that the participants of the Alpine Tour are not only fair weather drivers.
A lot of things can happen, but I mean in the end sometimes you have to take chances and just enjoy the car, the tour, and enjoy the group. This is kind of an experience.
The tour will go on. Albula, Susten and Grimsel Pass. Even today the route follows breathtaking roads. Rain or fog, you can enjoy the tour even at low speeds.
Rain, fog, that too has something. But it is then that you have to drive accordingly, carefully on the passes because, as mentioned, in fog, safety is always in the foreground.
An accident would not only be dangerous, but also very expensive. Especially the participants with rear-wheel drive have to control their gas pedal foot very carefully. But the McLaren 570S is not impressed with the rain. The Englishman knows that from its home country. McLaren has only built road production vehicles since 2009, and now the English are considered as being the sports car brand which has managed to deliver performance for the road. The 570S lies at the bottom end of the McLaren flagpole, and yet is still a true beast of acceleration. It enters the league of under 3 seconds. 2.9 are enough from 0 to 100, just like the Lamborghini Aventador, but the Italian is 100,000 euros more expensive. And with the 570, there is something else. The small sports car is even quite practical. Bottle holders and makeup mirrors underscore the practicality of the McLaren. When driving, the adjustable chassis ensures for maximum comfort despite its racing genes. The 570S turns its nose up at speed bumpers or gradients. Even if the McLaren has less power than the Aventador or the 458 Spaziale, it also costs much less and still offers the better overall package. A typical British perfectionist.
I think Britishness now in the modern era means for innovation, craftsmanship, attention to detail and quality, and these are things that are really dear to our hearts at McLaren. We have the pursuit of perfection, and it's a vision really of just push, and technology-based company, trying to really use that technology base, our Formula One knowledge, reflect that in the cars, and that's really our unique selling point compared to the competition.
In terms of emotion, McLaren does not quite reach that of the Italians, but the British have a Formula One-shaped racing image, and given the short time McLaren has had to put together a complete range of models, the performance of their vehicles is incredibly good. And meantime, McLaren has not forgotten their everyday usage. On the Alpine Passes Tour, a ghost fog has set in. The visibility is partially limited to less than 20 meters. At a snail's pace, the super athletes work their way up the Susten and Grimsel passes into Switzerland. Despite clear sections, the launch location is again completely wrapped in white cotton. The Grimsel Hospice, almost 900 years old, and the building was the first electrically heated house in Europe in 1932. After lunch, the fog is no longer an issue. For the Porsche Turbo, neither are the wet roads. The 911 Turbo S is the nerd among the sports cars. There is no unsuitable terrain for it. A Porsche driver knows exactly why the 911 is the perfect car for the Alpine Passes Tour.
Because it is just a boring car. Judging by all the other cars here, it is a perfect car. It is a car that is really fun on the long haul. It's fun in serpentines and curves. You can configure the car perfectly for all driving situations, for all road conditions.
the fact is, Porsche is by far the most successful sports car brand in the world. The Swabians produced 240,000 units in 2016, 30 times more, for example, than Ferrari. Success proves Porsche is right. But perfection can also be unsexy, and let's face it, shouldn't a sports car be something special? A topic with emotions? Even if this one in Miami blue still stands out, in Germany alone there are 277,000 Porsche vehicles. A Porsche has not been exclusive there for a long time. What fascinates people is the design with the big eyes and the rear end, and this has been the same since 1963. The chassis is significantly improved. In the past, the 911 was regarded as being almost uncontrollable, but nowadays it is child's play to control. The active four-wheel drive gives only so much power to the front wheels in curves so that an optimal side guidance is achieved. The steering rear axle also gives the Turbo S stability and maneuverability. Like the McLaren and the Lamborghini, the Turbo S also flies to 100 in 2.9 seconds. All in all, the Porsche is a performance weapon. Anyone who has driven it idolizes it, because as a super sports car for everyday use and for the Cruisefire Alpine Passes, there was hardly a better choice, but also not a more boring one. Another waning day is coming to an end for the participants of the tour. And due to the bad weather, things were a bit slower today. But there is still another stage to follow, a tour to Lake Como in Italy. But first, the physical well-being of the participants is taken care of. The Cruisefire Alpine Tour is a treat for sports car enthusiasts and gourmets. The view from the window the next morning then, a shock. Snow. The sports cars have all summer tires on. One even has semi-slicks. Does the weather now mean the end for the tour? Crisis discussion in the lobby. Organizer Marco discusses with the participants what should happen now. Actually, today is the stage for Lake Como to Italy. A long wait.
So right now we are in the position that we cannot leave St. Moritz. Snow, which was unexpected. We actually wanted to leave Villa Este today, and we would drive the last big pass, the Maloja Pass. It is unfortunately closed. The detour via the Bernina Pass is also closed. Currently snow chains are compulsory, and accordingly we decided to end the Cruisefire Alpine Passes Tour for safety reasons, in agreement with all participants, and as I said, safety first.
The passes are snowed in at the moment, partly closed. We might all still get to the top, but coming down with summer tires and with the braking effect, that's just too risky, and that's why it's the right decision to say we're cancelling.
For safety reasons, the decision is short and painless. End the trip and return journey home.
It's a bit sad, but I think we will still get a nice tour today. Yeah. Even though the weather is bad.
What remains is a reminder of an eventful short break in the mountains, and of course new friends who all share the passion for sports cars. An exciting Alpine tour comes to an end. For 2 days, the sports cars of the Cruisefire Alpine Passes have driven over the most beautiful passes that the Alps have to offer. In addition to loud engines, there were fantastic views and exclusive pleasures. They drove with the sun out, through rain and thick fog. and even snow. The Alpine Tour is a real adventure, exciting and unpredictable. Grandiose images and ghostly backdrops leave lasting impressions amongst the participants and endow the tour with something special despite it being aborted. But there is still one question to clarify. With real races on the road, on the one hand top performance and unlimited power, and on the other side, makeup mirror and drinks compartments. The balancing act of Sportsters is getting tougher and tougher. But which manufacturer has the perfect super sports car for an Alpine Tour? The Lamborghini Aventador and the Ferrari 458 Spaziale are the most prominent cars in the quartet. In terms of image and emotion, unbeatable. But touring is not their greatest strength, and the Lambo is by far the thirstiest with its V12. Opposite is the Porsche Turbo S. No sports car is better for longer distances than this, but it lacks what Italians have plenty of: emotion. It's too perfect and nothing special on roads anymore. The McLaren 570S offers the perfect mix of performance, emotion, and travel convenience. It is made for everyday driving, and with 570 horsepower on the rear axle, still extremely fun. In addition, with its base price of €181,000, it is a bargain compared to the other candidates. Our insider tip and the optimal vehicle for a sports car tour.